Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel, and this is catch up wrap up number 4. So I have 3 books again here, and here they are, posing for the thumbnail. And yeah, and I think, like the previous one, today I'm just going to record in this condition. It's actually daytime now, so it is slightly brighter, but I'm not turning on my lamps because I'm charging them. But I feel like you could probably see the covers clearly this time. I don't have to turn them on. Yeah, yep. I have 3 stuff right here. So let's start with the first one. So this is a book that my friend Brian gave me. This is called Rest and Be Thankful by Emma Glass. It's a novella, a very short one, but it wasn't particularly a quick read, I would say. But first, before I talk about this novel, I just kind of want to point out the cover of this novel, and I think, yeah, maybe I just turn on the light. Okay, and you could see that it's a painting of I forgot what the full name of the painting was. But it's of Ophelia, basically. And I think many of y'all would probably be familiar with this painting, and I was not familiar with it. And so when I first saw this cover, I thought it was just some kind of abstract image, right? And then there was a hand just emerging from what looks like kind of a watery surface, and I thought, okay, very abstract. I didn't know what it was, and then I found out that it was actually this was actually a torso of a person, and the head was below this stupid sticker. I'm not very critical about stickers. It's a very popular opinion that stickers are bad and disliked. I don't mind stickers, to be honest. I don't mind stickers like this, but this one was just really stupid, because they could have put it here and not cover this figure's face, but somehow they chose to do that. I don't know why, but anyway, enough rant about the cover. Let's talk about this book. So, Rest and Be Thankful is about this nurse named Laura, and she works at a pediatric unit at a hospital. And we learned that Laura has been having some difficulties at her job because she is tired, she's stressed, and she is overworked. And things are not any better for her at home, because her relationship with her partner has not been really cheery as well. And so things are kind of rough for Laura. And basically, that's what the story is about. It's about the life of this, a brief glimpse into this life of a very tired and stressed out nurse. And some of the things that I would say this book does well is that is able to kind of show you the suffocation, the tiredness that this character feels, the kind of sort of like almost burdensome existence that she's experiencing, and it feels like she's not able to kind of get out of that situation because of reasons, right? She feels kind of trapped in that kind of situation, and at the same time she still needs to kind of put on that professional mask on whenever she's at work, and it makes it even more exhausting for her to kind of carry on that performance. And you could certainly see that the humanity of Laura in this book. She's basically painted like this really human character with flaws, right? And you could see that. I also think that the premise of writing about a nurse who is really tired, to me it is a very interesting premise, because it is not the kind of story that you hear a lot. Especially when it comes to people who has to do works that are related to service jobs. And so yeah, it is the kind of story that I personally would have gravitated towards. Nevertheless, I must say I did not particularly enjoy this book, mainly because of the writing style. So, the writing style, I would probably describe it as very purple. I think there are many attempts by the author to include writings that are very poetic and elegant. But I feel that this book might have been more elevated, I would say, if it were written as a novel in verse. Mainly because I think within the prose writing of this book, there are so many parts that feels like it is trying to go towards the territory of a poem. Like, reading this book, and I usually read books aloud sometimes, not the entire books, you could feel that certain sentences have a sense of rhythm. It's very obvious, but sometimes it can get really obvious when in a particular paragraph, for example, a few sentences have that obvious rhythm, whereas other sentences do not really have like that same kind of sense of rhythm. And it feels kind of jarring, because it feels inexplicable. Like, why would suddenly certain sentences feel different than others, right? Why, like for example, other examples, like certain sentences would suddenly have this alliteration going on in them, and then suddenly the sentences after that do not. And so it's kind of bizarre in terms of style, I would say. And as a result, it feels a little bit distracting. So, yeah, in that sense, I must say that I did not particularly enjoy it as much as I wanted to. I think anyone who likes that kind of writing style would have appreciated it more. So, I guess that's all I gotta say about Rest and Be Thankful. Next one that I read was The Fat Years by Koonchung. So this book was originally written in Chinese, translated to English by Michael S. Duke. This book was originally published in Chinese. Let me see. It was originally published in Chinese, I think, in 2009. And this translation came out in 2011, I think. Now, that is sort of relevant, kind of in a small way, is because I read this book in 2025. And when this book was published, it was like it was published before the the year in which the story is set in. So the story, I think it is set in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. Like the original Chinese title has the year 2012. So the story in this book takes place in the near future. So what happens here is we follow a journalist and novelist named Old Chen. I think his name is Old Chen. Yeah, his name is Old Chen, and then so apparently he has a friend, right? He has a friend, and his friend is trying to tell him that apparently a month has been missing from the official calendar. Like 1 month is missing, and Old Chen is like, he does not know that, because according to his friend, the Chinese government has literally disappeared that 1 month from the official calendar and also from the collective memories of the Chinese people. So most of the general populace did not know the existence of this particular month. And as we would learn later, this particular month is kind of like a month in which it's kind of like a chaotic period that happened between economic collapse and prosperity. And this particular month, something happened, right? And the Chinese government has apparently or allegedly disappeared it. And only a few people know, and these people just sort of become this kind of ragtag band of resistance. And they're trying to find out what exactly happened in this month and why has it been disappeared. So that's kind of like the general mystery of this book. The main character, however, this Old Chen, he does not know about this. So he is like one of those people, if I'm not mistaken, he's like one of those people who didn't know that the month has disappeared. Like, he has the same memory as the general population, and he only knew about it because his friend told him about it. And on top of that, this main character, he has his own motivation in this book as well. Like, although this book is very much about the this missing month, right? Old Chen's motivation as a character is kind of simple. He is interested in a woman that he has known for a while now, and he's interested in sort of reconnecting with her and just, you know, be with her. And what makes it more interesting is that this woman he's interested in knows about the fact that that month is missing. And so this woman, she's a political activist. She is also part of that so-called small resistance movement. And so Old Chen ends up being sucked into this whole adventure about finding out more about this month, mainly because he is interested to reconnect with this woman that he likes. I enjoyed this one, and I would say I enjoy this one mostly because of the writing style. Like the first book, I didn't really enjoy it because of the writing style. I like this one because of the writing style. Or should I say the translation style, perhaps? Because, okay, English is not my first language. So, you know, but I kind of understand it somewhat if someone says, you know, sometimes the English of something or of someone does not sound particularly natural, because I am pretty sure that my English might not sound natural for native English speakers. And that is something that I can sense from this book as well. Like the English in this book certainly has that slight it feels a bit off, but the English is still, grammatically sound. It's just there's something that feels kind of off about the English in this book. And because I speak Mandarin, I kind of sense that the translation was done such that the English sort of follows the Mandarin Chinese cadence or tone. And that is certainly something that I sense here, especially when it comes to the writing in this book, which I think really fits with the context. You have a very much a protagonist with a literary background, but he doesn't exactly, his story isn't exactly written in a very flowery literary language. Like, his story is written in this novel in this very normal, casual, conversational kind of language. And even as I was reading it in English, I could certainly feel that Chinese-ness to it, which kind of makes me enjoy it more, especially when paired with the fact that this book has a fairly absurd premise and also plot line. And part of the appeal of that, another part of the appeal of that is also because of the humor that it has in this novel. And I think the humor is kind of dry, also kind of absurd. It's not the kind of humor that makes you laugh out loud, more like makes you roll your eyes. Because there are a few things in this book that feels kind of ridiculous. So I enjoyed that part as well. I read some reviews about this book, and some of them says that this book reads like a non-fiction account of China's history, of China's recent history. And I must say, to some extent, I do agree with that a little bit. There are certain parts of this book that felt like it is basically just kind of like narrating history, recent history of China. Not all of them are like, true, as in this book is a novel after all. So it also includes like the fictional in-universe history of China in this book. But it does so in this tone that really does feel like a history book somewhat. And then that part just sort of segues into the stories involving the characters, and after that it goes a little bit into the history of the China in this universe. But I find that I didn't mind that so much, because it kind of fits with this whole I would say absurd approach in the storytelling. So I kind of like it. I quite enjoy it, and I certainly recommend this one. This was a book that I gave 4 out of 5 stars to. So moving on to the last book of this video. It's a very small book. This is by Stefan Zweig. This is called Chess. And this book was translated by Anthea from German to English. Stefan Zweig was an author from Austria, and this book was published in, let me check, 1941. Okay, so I've always wanted to read Chess or Chess Story. I think it has other alternative titles as well, if I'm not mistaken, because it had other translations as well, I believe. Anyway, this edition that I have is entitled Chess. Okay, a little bit of my well, I wouldn't say it's my story, okay? It's related to this book. I've always wanted to read this, and I've been seeing like descriptions of this book across many different places. Now, disclaimer, I don't read descriptions very closely, right? So this might contribute to the experience that I'm going to tell you. But my impression after reading those different kinds of descriptions, like short descriptions of the book, made me think that chess is going to be about the story between a narrator character, who certainly is present in this book. There is a narrator character, between that narrator character and a very talented chess player who also appears in this book. And that was my impression of it. This short book was going to be about these two characters, right? Maybe they'll play chess with each other and then something happened, blah, 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 right? And they're on a ship or something like that. It's true they are on the ship, and it is true that there is this very talented chess player. In fact, when you begin reading this book, this is, well, other than the narrator character, who is on the ship, like all of the characters are on the ship, right? You are introduced to this really talented chess player named Mirko Centovic. And he's famous. Many people knows him on that ship, and they want to play with him, including the narrator himself. And we would eventually learn more about Mirko's past. We found out that Mirko is, well, in the present. What we learn about him on the ship is that Mirko has this kind of icy personality. Like, he doesn't really talk to people. He's not sociable at all. And another important thing about him is that he is also quite mercenary. Like, he only plays chess for money. And so we learned a little bit about his backstory in this book, related to his family background. And that was the information that we will be given when we read this book. And we'll get that information at the first few pages of this book. And then suddenly, the book kind of, shifts direction, different from what I expected, because I didn't expect this, mostly because I really just gleamed through those descriptions. I didn't know that there was going to be like another character, and this character arguably is the most important character in this book. I didn't recall seeing that character being mentioned in those descriptions, so I was like a little bit taken aback by the entrance of this character. His name is Dr. B, and he was a lawyer. And he ends up playing with Mirko on the ship, playing chess with him. And basically, this novel, it has sort of like two plots that run side by side. One plot is basically about Dr. B's past, which is the meat of this book. Another plot would be whatever that's taking place in the present on the ship as Dr. B and Mirko Centovic play chess with each other. And their approach to chess are very different. Mirko is like very cold, steely kind of chess playing, whereas Dr. B is kind of chaotic. And we learn more about why that is, especially when we read the backstory of Dr. B. So obviously I'm not going to tell you what that backstory is. But I'm going to tell you this though, I don't play chess. I don't play chess, But I feel like anyone who plays chess would probably experience even more interesting layers when reading this book. But even without the technical knowledge of chess, you know, if you don't have it like me, I think you'll still be able to enjoy this book, because I certainly did enjoy this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars because I like how this book just sort of used something that feels kind of unrelated, like and sort of innocuous in comparison to the other thing. Like chess, right? It uses something like chess to further elevate a story about I would say a horrible experience. Okay. If you have read some of the descriptions of this book, you may notice the words like madness or insanity thrown in there. Yeah, that element is certainly quite strong in this book, and I like the inclusion of that, the way it is written, because it feels very organic, especially when you read it in relation to the backstories of the characters. I feel like the 2 chess players in this book, Dr. B and also Mirko, they kind of represents something that are kind of opposite of each other, which makes the story feels even more interesting, I think. Yeah, I like this book. I quite enjoyed it, so certainly recommend this if you have not read this. Also, it's very short, so yeah, definitely pick this up. I've seen like a few editions of this lying around, and then one day, apparently this year, Penguin released this Penguin Archive edition, and then one day I just saw it, and it costs less compared to the other like standard issue Penguin classics, the one with the black bands or the turquoise spine. So I just picked this up, and yeah, I'm so happy that I read this book. So that's all I have in this video, and it's a Sunday. Well, it's not a Sunday, it's a Saturday today. I'm already a few weeks into my studies, and it has been okay, but another thing that has been happening recently was that I had a horrible pain on my right ankle. That's been so annoying, and I still have the swelling right now. Yeah, but that pain was like, it lasted for like a few weeks, and it was not a great October for me. Not a great October, not a great Halloween. But yeah, I feel like my ankle's getting better, and also at the same time, I feel like I'm also kind of getting back that energy to be on BookTube talking about books. One of the posts that I put up earlier just kind of briefly mentioned my 5-star reads. I mentioned something about not really having the energy to talk, and yeah. That was something that that was true. Yeah, I wasn't in the mood to talk, and but now I have that mood. So I'll see you again in a different video. Let me know what you read. Let me know what you think about these books. Yeah, I'll be very excited to know what your thoughts are about these, and I'll see you again in a different video. So until then, take care. Thanks for watching. Bye.